Alexa Bliss returns from her short hiatus to shoot Randy Orton in the face of a fireball in the middle of his match with Triple H. We're going to talk all about it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is your Raw review. What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are talking about Monday Night Raw. Wasn't the best of shows at all. We obviously all knew what happened before the show began. It was announced earlier on in the day. WWE champion Drew McIntyre has tested positive for COVID. So he was not going to be on the show. And he's obviously not going to be on the show for at least the next 2 weeks. So we hope Drew recuperates soon and gets better soon. And he's back on the show. But they wanted to put on a big kind of main event angle. It was planned to be Drew versus Randy Orton because I believe some college football finals happening. So they wanted to counteract that. And they drafted in the cerebral assassin, Triple H. But we're going to get into everything that happened on the show shortly. So stay tuned. And right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into this Raw review. And the show opened up with Triple H coming down to the ring. Brilliant to see Triple H. I know a lot of people aren't fans of Triple H. I'm still a fan of Triple H. He is one of the best in the business, you know, for me personally. He comes down to the ring to open up the show, does all the welcome to the Thunderdome, welcome to Monday Night Raw. Didn't really get much else out because Randy Orton came out and Randy Orton approached him saying, look, I know something must be going on here since the Office is out in the ring coming to open up the show. Randy Orton was basically saying I should just be handed the WWE Championship because that's best for business. Triple H said he's not doing anything like that. Triple H said, obviously, while I've got you here, let's address why you're walking around kicking legends in the head, threatening legends last week. It's not cool, etc. That these guys paved the way for us all. Randy Orton then proceeds to kind of stick it on Triple H and was like, well, you know, do you still have what it takes? Is there someone still in there? The cerebral assassin, is he still in there inside this suit? You know, this businessman now. And Triple H kind of didn't bite the bait. Randy Orton asked him and challenged him to a fight, which Triple H initially declined. Randy Orton made a dig at Triple H saying that he left his balls in Stephanie's purse. I'm pretty sure we've heard that one before from Randy Orton. Obviously, these two have a very storied history. You know, these two have been warring for the past 20 years on and off. So, yeah, I'm sure we've heard that one before. Triple H went back and hit Randy Orton. Randy Orton said, you know, I take that as you're accepting my challenge. So the segment ended there. We're going to see, I guess, later on in the night, Triple H accepted the challenge formally in an interview, and we're going to see that match in the main event. They just want to put something on. I know some will say that, you know, this is counterproductive. There's younger talents that could have done with that spot. They wanted a big draw or whatever the case is. Like I said, I like Triple H, so I'm happy to see him in it. So, but I do understand that, yes, you know, there's other people that could have done with that kind of spot, with that kind of rub. But yeah, you know, these two, we've seen them for years and years and years. So that no dialogue or anything they say can really surprise us at this point. It is just to get to the actual match. But cool. First match on the night, we had Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans. So before I get into this, I just have to say this. Where is the Raw Women's Champion? Asuka. Charlotte Flair has come back, and Charlotte Flair is being treated as the top female star on the brand, which, you know, she is in that respect. But the people holding the titles aren't really getting shown here. I mean, she came out for a match with Lacey Evans with the tag team championship and not even her tag team partner at ringside or something. You see what I mean? It's just a bit, admittedly, following this COVID thing that happened to Drew McIntyre, we would see during the night, it seemed to be a bit of a reduced roster. Hopefully, not many other superstars have tested positive because a lot of people were pulling double duty, having two matches on the night. You know, we'll get through that in a second. But maybe Asuka was one of them. Maybe Asuka had to stay away from the show. Who knows? But yeah, I just don't think that right now Asuka doesn't even have a match for the women's championship for Royal Rumble, and it just doesn't look good. And this is where a lot of blame will then go into kind of Charlotte Flair, but it's not her fault. She's a star. You see what I mean? But they still need to do better for the actual champion and the championship at hand. Anyway, Charlotte Flair comes out to the ring. She's coming to teach classless Lacey Evans some respect. Obviously, Lacey Evans was flirting with Ric Flair. They both cut promos before the match, and then we get into the actual match. And then not before too long, we actually see Ric Flair, who was thought to be at home, coming down ringside to actually support Lacey Evans. Again, we can all talk about how smart it is to bring out someone that's the age of Ric Flair amongst everything that's going on, with COVID these days. But he was there ringside second week in a row, supporting Lacey Evans. I think leading up to the finish, again we saw Lacey Evans be saved by Ric Flair at one point. Her foot was put on the bottom rope by Ric Flair so that Charlotte couldn't get a 3 count on her. And then again we saw Ric trip Charlotte Flair and then hold her leg down while Lacey Evans pinned her, and that gave Lacey Evans what could be called a big win over Charlotte Flair. So yeah, Charlotte is really not happy with her dad right now. I was telling him to get away from ringside or go home during the matchup, and he was answering back to her. So it looks like we're getting some type of Lacey Evans, Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair love angle or something like that. Not the best, but what can we do? But yeah, I think ultimately, like I was saying earlier, we just got to kind of treat the women's championship better, the Raw Women's Championship better. Asuka deserves better. There's a plethora of women that are, credible and able to be in that picture fighting Asuka for it. So we just need to get around to them, in my opinion. Next up, we were supposed to have a Jeff Hardy versus Elias match. However, Elias was saying that he had injured his thumb producing music or something like that. So Jackson Ryker instead stepped up to Jeff Hardy. This match didn't last long at all. Jackson Ryker put away Jeff Hardy kind of quickly. And as Jackson Ryker and Elias were leaving ringside area, Jeff Hardy took to the mic, and Jeff Hardy basically said, Elias, I know you're just running from me. That's what you're giving me, your heater in Jackson Ryker first. You don't want to face me. Come out here and face me and all this kind of stuff. So Elias got into the ring after all and took on Jeff Hardy. So this was, Jeff Hardy pulling double duty in this sense. And this match went a bit more of a distance. I thought they had a good punctuation to their feud with that. Was it the Symphony of Destruction match? These guys are here wrestling again, saying it's under the same feud. But we did see Jeff Hardy end this match with a twist of fate and a swanton bomb to put away Elias. So that was that. Next up on the show, we had a tag team match. Miz and Morrison versus Sheamus and Keith Lee. And backstage, Keith Lee was having an interview where Sheamus came in and said, and Keith Lee was like, look, don't come and rub salt in my wounds because I lost last week. Sheamus said, no, you know what? You put on a terrific match with Drew McIntyre. Anyone that gets Drew's respect gets my respect. So I respect you, sort of thing, which is just weird for Sheamus to say because Drew and Keith Lee have been friends and Sheamus has been at loggerheads with Keith Lee. So yeah, maybe it took him losing to realize maybe he's not a threat, so to speak. But yeah, it was Sheamus. Sheamus was paying respect to Keith Lee, and all of a sudden you see Miz and Morrison walk into the shot of the interview, and they are just talking smack. I can't even lie, I half tuned out because we just know where this is going, and Miz and Morrison are both really good, but I just don't like this cartoonish stuff they do together. It really it's just lame. It's just really lame. So anyway, we were going to get those two pairing up, Sheamus and Keith Lee, to take on Miz and Morrison. And this was a really fun match, to be completely honest. This was a really good match. There's two big guys that really worked well as a tag team, to be honest. taking it to Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison were in the ascendancy in parts, especially Morrison. He brought a lot of offense to Keith Lee at times, but we saw loads of great spots, including Keith Lee throwing Morrison into the turnbuckle, and we saw the turnbuckle like pop out of the socket. The whole top rope kind of came down, so they had to fix that. And even Keith Lee looked completely surprised when that happened, and he was laughing at the situation. To finish, it was going to be I think it was, I'm not quite sure who was in the ring from John Morrison and Miz, but Keith Lee looked like he was about to deliver a spirit bomb when all of a sudden he kind of backed up into his corner. Sheamus tagged himself in and said, "You look, I've got this sort of thing, I can do this from here." Delivered a bro kick and pinned either John Morrison or Miz and got the win. So Keith Lee was like, "Oh, cheeky bugger, got one over, fine." But they were all laughs, all smiles throughout the match. At the win, they were saluting each other and all sorts. We went to a commercial break, came back from a commercial break, and these two were still in the ring, pushing and fighting each other. Commentary were not able to explain what happened from where they were smiling and everything before. We didn't get any kind of replay package as to what would have been the breakdown and why they're fighting each other now. But they continued and had a fight. They had a match. And then, so this was, another kind of double duty situation where they had just been in a match, and not even like a squash, a relatively long match. And then they had another match straight after, another kind of distance. Yeah, and probably about 10 minutes or so their match was. And this was really good as well. It was really good as well. These two are really good. Sheamus has just completely turned my opinion around on him in the last couple of months. He's been really, really good in ring. Really, really interesting competitor. I've never seen this side of Sheamus before. And it was just a really good match between these two. We saw a tease for what would have been another Spanish fly like Keith Lee gave to Drew McIntyre last week. Sheamus fought out of it. But in the end, Keith Lee delivered an emphatic spirit bomb to pin Sheamus. Again, at the end of the match, Keith Lee offered up a fist pump to Sheamus. Sheamus knocked it away, but then gave him a hug. So who really knows what ground these guys, stand on with each other at this point? But it was good to see. We got a couple of good matches out of those men tonight. So salute to them, especially if it's a case of pulling double duty because other people are ill, other competitors aren't feeling too good. So before we get into a match with Retribution and a New Day member, guys, if you're watching, please make sure you hit the like button. It's thoroughly important to this channel, and we thoroughly appreciate it as well every time you smash that like button. So again, please like the button. And like I say, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel as well. Next up on the show, we had T-Bar versus Xavier Woods. T-Bar was escorted down to the ring by obviously the whole Retribution gang. Xavier Woods on his own. Very weird to see Xavier Woods on his own. We've seen situations with the New Day coming out competing alone, but just not very often is it Xavier Woods. They said that Kofi Kingston is actually suffered from a broken jaw from one of the matches that New Day would have had with Hurt Business. So I hope Kofi recovers quickly. But yeah, Xavier Woods came out here and he put on a pretty decent match with T-Bar. T-Bar being, Dominik Dijakovic. He doesn't look comfortable wrestling in a mask at all. And it looked like his mask was kind of getting unbuckled behind his head a bit. And I was thinking, what if we see another Retribution unmasking like we did before with Mia Yim or Reckoning? But this match is pretty solid. This match is pretty solid as well. Obviously, T-Bar being the bigger man was pretty much in ascendancy for a lot of it. We saw one really good spot, which was an Xavier Woods drop kick, which sent T-Bar completely crashing outside the ring, which I thought was really good. But in the end, I think T-Bar got the win with like a high knee, a running knee kind of move, and pinned Xavier Woods. Retribution picking up a couple of wins. They're just a mid-table or a mid-card, should I say, a mid-card kind of act right now. Really hoping Mustafa Ali can push them and push their story and get something out of it for himself. But it's just whatever right now, isn't it? Next up on the night, we had a United States Championship match. Bobby Lashley versus Riddle. We saw Riddle get a sneaky win over Bobby Lashley last week, so this was the US Championship match. And you know what? This was just made for Bobby Lashley to look very dominant. To be honest, going into it, I was a bit scared that Bobby Lashley was gonna drop his US Championship and this video was gonna be a rant video, but they didn't do that. He Riddle was attacked before the bell. He was bloody. I think he was bleeding in the mouth before the bell as well. Yeah, didn't really stand a chance. This match didn't last very long. The hurt lock was applied, and he tapped out. And as Bobby Lashley and MVP were leaving ringside area, we saw same old kind of gesture that we had seen earlier on in the night from Jeff Hardy. Riddle took to the mic and said, you know, MVP, you want to attack people and stuff and get involved in matches and kick a man when he's down. Well, I might not have been able to beat Bobby Lashley, but I know I can beat you. So he challenged MVP. MVP, you know, took off his suit jacket, took off his tie, and got in the ring and had a fight with Matt Riddle. Didn't last too long at all before Bobby Lashley, after Matt Riddle kicked Bobby Lashley on the apron, Bobby Lashley literally just ran into the ring and speared Matt Riddle. it was so good. Bobby Lashley obviously always brings the intensity of everything he does. Speared Matt Riddle, so obviously the referee throughout the match, they continued beating up Riddle, and MVP actually gave him like a kick to the gut, kicking him out when he's down. So that was those guys, and I'll be interested to see, you know, if we see Riddle continue in this kind of US Championship picture. I mean, things might have to be considered. I've been lobbying for Bobby Lashley to be in the WWE Championship scene for a minute now. Things might get interesting if Drew McIntyre is unable to return for Royal Rumble in time. He is sick. He doesn't recover very quickly. Yeah, we may see a crowning of a new WWE champion in one way, shape, or form. Goldberg will definitely need another opponent. So yeah, be very interesting to see. And just talking on Drew McIntyre whilst we're here, he had a phone promo, where two during the night, where one, obviously he addressed the fact he had COVID and told everybody to stay safe. And the second one was him accepting Goldberg's challenge for the Royal Rumble match, the WWE Championship Royal Rumble match. So we are definitely seeing that match, I guess, which I think we all assumed we would probably get anyway. We had a backstage segment of AJ Styles, you know, talking to Adam Pearce. And obviously, we all know what happened with Adam Pearce last week on SmackDown. He's saying to Adam Pearce, you know, somehow, some way, you find a way to beat Roman Reigns and I win the Royal Rumble like I'm going to. Us two can meet for the Universal Championship. You saw Drew Gulak come into picture, and Drew Gulak was like, well, since you guys are kind of talking about Royal Rumble, I'd like to declare myself entering into the Royal Rumble, to obviously to WWE official Adam Pearce, asking Adam Pearce as well, can he enter at number 30? Now, this is where this got interesting for me. He said, no, you can't just declare yourself. Drew Gulak rightly said, why can AJ Styles just declare himself? AJ Styles said, I'm a two-time WWE champion. You know what? Even me, I said, fair enough. Adam Pearce said, Drew Gulak, you and AJ Styles have a match right now. If you are successful, you will be in the Royal Rumble match. So they went out to the ring and were having this match. We had a great little segment in this match where Gulak was thrown to the outside, and as he was getting up, we had a close shot in of Omos's foot against Drew Gulak's Drew Gulak's head, sorry. His foot is like this big. His foot is massive, and they kind of panned up to how big the man was. In the end, Drew Gulak didn't win the match. AJ Styles won with a phenomenal forearm, putting Drew Gulak away. So Drew Gulak isn't going to be in the Royal Rumble. Now, I say this is very interesting because straight after this match, we had Shayna Basler and Nia Jax versus Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. And before the match, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose cut a backstage promo where they declared their entry into the Royal Rumble. Now, they're not previous champions in any capacity, so why can they just walk into the Royal Rumble? It's a little thing, but they just have to clean up this rule of how you can just enter the Royal Rumble. There has to be some type of maybe ranking. If you're a previous champion, yes, you can just walk in. For everyone else, you need to qualify. they just need to do something because it's just very, very inconsistent. And in this, for them to put it back to back in a segment with Drew Gulak trying to qualify was just a bit crazy to me. Like, they just really need to clean up this rule altogether. But yeah, let me know what you think of the Royal Rumble ruling and qualifying for the Royal Rumble ruling. I don't think it's something they need to spend loads of time on. You can just declare yourself and walk into it. But then closer to the time, they're going to have people having qualifying matches. So why have other people been able to declare and some people have qualifying matches, Just got to clear this up. Anyway, this tag team women's match, kind of pointless. No title at stake here because obviously the champions aren't involved. We've seen these bouts before between these two teams, and we've seen the outcome we got tonight. This match probably went a bit longer than it should have. In the end, it looked like Nia Jax was going to put away Mandy Rose. She got tagged out by Shayna Basler, who tagged herself in and applied the Kirifuda clutch to Mandy Rose, who tapped out. So Nia Jax was a bit bemused, a bit confused as to why Shayna Basler didn't just let her win the match. But Shayna Baszler didn't see anything of it. We obviously saw this a bit earlier with Keith Lee and Sheamus. So yeah, a bit of repetitive action here on this episode of Raw. But yeah, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax got the win. Last but not least, we got the big main event match, which, in the end, it wasn't a wrestling match at all. It was a fight. And before this, we got a nice little angle backstage of Keith Lee going up to, his boss, his former boss anyway, in NXT days, Triple H, saying, ever since I got here, you've looked out for me. Let me look out for you. I already had 2 matches tonight. I don't mind having a third. Let me go and face Randy Orton. Triple H very appreciative, but he said, you know what? This is something I started. I've got to put this to bed. I've got to take him out myself. Keith Lee said, it's time to play the game. Walked away. These two had a fist bump. Nice little moment backstage. Triple H, brilliant to see his entrance. I just love Triple H, man. I just love Triple H. He's just so good. Love seeing Triple H back in the ring in his street fighter attire, jeans and the t-shirt, the leather jacket. He's come for a war and not for a wrestling match, so to speak. To be honest, I guess they maybe posed it like this because I doubt he's out of shape, but obviously him being brought in impromptu, he probably not in the complete physical shape he would love to be in. So they kind of posed this as a match, as a fight rather than a match. Randy Orton entered the ring and that was it. They just started. There was no referee. Brawling. Randy Orton got bust open on his cheek pretty early, bleeding from his cheek. Kind of rolled back into the ring after a bit. Triple H went under the ring, got out his trusty sledgehammer. As he got back into the ring, the Fiend's little breakdown, light started going out, all that stuff started happening. Right. Triple H is staring down Randy Orton when this is happening. Triple H, that was previously holding up his sledgehammer, is now kind of tilted it down. He's taking in the settings. He's never seen this happen live before of the Fiend entering, if that was going to be the case. As the lights break down more, Triple H raises his sledgehammer again. The sledgehammer, the hammer part of the sledgehammer, is on fire. How has it caught fire? Nobody knows. Everyone's just looking at it like, The whole place goes black. All the lights are out now, including the flame on the sledgehammer, which, I don't know. I think that's kind of a misstep, but hey, that's gone out. The lights come back on with the purple tint. So that's like Alexa Bliss's light. Randy Orton's looking around the ring for where's Triple H gone. He finally turns around. He sees Alexa Bliss in the corner. Randy Orton kind of takes a few steps towards Alexa Bliss. Out of nowhere, Alexa Bliss rises something that looks like a gun. Alexa Bliss rises something that looks like a gun and shoots at Randy Orton. This fireball came out. Looks like it hits Randy Orton. And to be honest, I'm Nigerian. I'm from a Nigerian household, Nigerian background. This is the most Nollywood looking thing I've ever seen. And all my Africans will know what Nollywood is, This is the most Nollywood looking fake special effects thing. We've seen fireballs. It wasn't too long before, it wasn't too long ago we saw Keith Lee carrying Cross involved in a little fireball angle. Yeah, she basically shot at Randy Orton with this fireball gun thing, and yeah, it looked to blind him. Randy Orton was just, kind of pacing around the ring afterwards. Oh, my eyes, and then the show ended. Again, a little cliffhanger, which they're probably not going to start from next week. Alexa Bliss returned after her weeks after dosing herself in petrol. It's just a bit of a mishmash ending, isn't it? We didn't get the ending to the Triple H match. Alexa Bliss returned out of nowhere and just shot Randy Orton in the face. Is Randy Orton going to have burns? I guess we're going to wait till next week and see. But yeah, it looks like their hands were pretty much tied with this episode of Raw. Like I said, a lot of double duty being pulled by some of the competitors, by some of the superstars, which, kudos to them. But wasn't the greatest Raw at all. And, we've come to kind of expect that. It's a pity, because we're headed into probably the best pay-per-view, or in terms of the Rumble match itself, and it's just a bit disjointed right now. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks it picks up. But that is your Raw review. I hope you enjoyed Raw for what it was. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, please remember to smash the like button. It's thoroughly appreciated each and every time. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified each and every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.